Hey, what's up, y'all? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to today's Ask the Elephant. I apologize for the delay in getting started. Michael Brandt pretty much had it right that I said, shall we? And I was just waiting for somebody to say, we shall, to get started. So thanks for finally cluing into that there, Michael. Thanks. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully doing well, or good if you prefer. Oolong today. All right, let's go ahead, catch up. Let's see what all we should be doing here. Oh, folks are asking about the thumbs down. Hey, the way I see it, they're dedicated, aren't they? The same two people. I appreciate it because engagement is engagement. So, hey, I appreciate your thumbs. Obviously, I prefer the thumbs up. If they're thumbs down, it's engagement. I'll take it either way. All right, so I'm going through, catching up on chat. Let's see. How are we doing? I'm doing well, thank you. Let's see. As soon as this is done, finish prepping for the Teotihuacan review. And then Greg is coming over. We're going to record that. And then I guess we're going to live stream PAX Premiere 2nd Edition with Cole. And yeah, whatever, you know. Yeah. So, no, doing real well, actually. I'm in a really good place. I said as much on Twitter yesterday. Banker Dave. So, welcome, everybody. Hi, I'm Edward, if you guys haven't, if you're not unfamiliar. Let's see, Banker Dave. Always wonder why Edward chose an elephant. I didn't choose it, and it was me and Tony at the time, and just heavy. Just kind of made sense. Plus, we found a cool little drawing of an elephant, i.e. Davis, and purchased him, and there you go. So that's it. Michael, screwing off at work. Welcome. All right. All right, let's see. Has anybody heard about the latest Spielworks game, Yinzi? I have, yes. I viewed a video on Spielworks site trying to get a read on it, given the game's price point. Perhaps a heavy cardboard teach and playthrough. Well, Jim, Uli, i.e. Spielworks, and Heavy Cardboard have a partnership. We're going to do playthroughs of all of their games. So once we get a copy of Yinzi, we'll be doing that. Oh, and we have Democker coming probably in April. So there's that. Yes, last work day before PAX, although I could make the argument that PAX is a work day for me as well. And somebody, I think it was Bill, let me look here. Yes, Bill over in the guild asks, are you going to PAX East? Yup, it's one of my local cons. I'll be there, at least for a couple of the days for sure. Definitely Thursday, Friday, probably some of Saturday. Not on Sunday, though, because I'm going to be preparing for Churchill's live stream on Sunday. So, yes, I will be there. New intro music. Nope, it's still Ronald Jenkins. Excuse me. It's all the music that we've licensed. So, no, not. It's just what we use for the weekly, or I'm sorry, for the Ask the Elephant. Paul, still on vacation, doing great. Awesome to hear. James, not wanting to be at work, so just doing okay. Fair enough. Cold one. Hey. Where you play old classic games. Define old classic games. Because I feel like we're doing that. But if you mean like Monopoly, Risk, stuff like that, we've done that the last 2 April 1st. You may see something on April 1st as well. You should tune in on Monday. Tony from Spain. Hello. Undefined asks, which of the ages... God, this is going to sound so entitled. My answer to this, I already know. Which of the Aegis themed stretch goal maps are you looking forward to be released? Hungary, Finland, France, New England, Pittsburgh, Poland, Switzerland, and why? All of them for all of you. I own them already. So I'm excited for y'all to be able to get access to them. Okay, there you go. Reynaud, hey, I work can't wait for PAX Premiere. Me too. I have a question. I assume since you're here. That's awesome. Boy, I'm salty today, aren't I? I'm in a good mood though. So that's good. I have a question. People talk about the game Brazil for years, coming from What's Your Game and Nuno and Paulo. Is the game happening any century soon? Hope you're all good, by the way. I will tell you everything that I know. Veronica and Mariano said they wanted us to do a playthrough of the game. This was a year and a half ago. I know it was going to be coming in 2019. The Kickstarter was supposed to be in 2018. Then I was told 2019. You now know everything that I know. That's literally it. Is it coming? In theory, yes. Is it coming soon? Oh. They don't tell me. I don't know. I'm sorry. Chris asks, last year you mentioned doing a Golden Elephant Award for Thinky Filler, but obviously enough came up that it didn't work out. That a possibility for this year? Now, if you mean by this year, you mean 2019? Possible. If you mean for 2018, which is going to be announced in May of this year, no. No. We have enough going on right now and just settling in and keeping things the status quo. So that's the plan for right now. You might be wondering what the finalists are for the Golden Elephant Award. Well, you'll find them out next month. And Eric asking about Davis and the elephant being an 1853 Francis Tresham interview. That it all kind of worked out together. That an elephant. Oh, hey, there's the elephant in train games in 18XX heavy games. So it all kind of worked together, and it just kind of made sense. Patrick asks, I'm teaching PAX Renaissance tomorrow for the first time. Any tips? Yeah, watch Ash's teach that he did on the heavy cardboard playthrough. That's what I recommend. Have fun at GameStorm, Paul. Jason asks, any reprints that you are really desiring to be done of games that are out of print? Horus, but that's for selfish reasons because that's one of my Grail games. Not if you Google Horus, it's the one by Theta Games. It's made out of like a proprietary sandstone. There's only about 40 copies of it in existence, I think, and they're never available. I have no idea if the game's good, but it just looks awesome, and I want a copy. But if it gets reprinted, then it becomes less of a Grail, so maybe not Horus. Well, Key Market, right? But that's happening. Irish Gate, no. Bus, no. All games I don't have copies of that I've wanted to get reprinted. Oh, I see what you're doing here. Oh, you're trying to find out what I don't own so that I try and influence what gets reprint. I'm on to you, Jason. That's clever. But no, I own Hinkle and Stein, i.e. Box of Rocks, but I am still pressing to get that reprinted. And from what I've been told, that reprint is likely to happen if they can get the manufacturing costs in line because, well, Box of Rocks, manufacturing rocks. I realized they could go out to like a river and anyway. Games that I would like to get reprinted. Oh boy. It's funny, I'm actually looking at the first two seasons of the podcast. Aegis, never mind. Personally, I'd like the anniversary edition of Puerto Rico to come back because I don't have a copy of that anymore. That would be awesome. It's really funny. Seriously, I'm sitting here looking at these. Neue Heimat, Brass, Arkwright, Container, Democker. Madeira, Indonesia. Wildcatters, Age of Steam, Food Chain. All right. Well, I guess Masters of Venice hasn't been done. That'd be cool. You're going to see that later on, probably in April, because I want to do it. And that's a game that I think people are really going to enjoy. Artwork and fiddliness notwithstanding, I think people are going to be excited about that game. Now, can you still get copies? I don't know. Somebody go on to BGG, check the secondhand market for Masters of Venice. Democker. Yeah, okay. Here is what I want more than anything else. I want Mr. President, the Oval Office, whatever it is that it's going to be called. I want that to actually come out. I want Brazil to come out. And last but not least, I want more decks for Orit Labora. That's what I want. That's on my Christmas list. Okay? There you go. Board Game Trucker asks, Edward, is Bust top 50 material now that it's getting a reprint? Let me clarify something. I don't care if it's getting a reprint to make the top 50. Irish Gauge was on there. No, I don't care if it's completely out of print and it costs $300 to get a copy. That's not a prerequisite for anything that we do on Heavy Cardboard. Could it be top 50? Absolutely. Now that I've played it a handful more times, and if you haven't watched the live stream of it, the playthrough, that was pretty fantastic, I think. I think it showed the game really well, and we had a blast with that game. So, yes, that absolutely. Sure, why not? Let's make it 6 splatters in the top 50. On that note, have you guys delved into the BGG forum? I posted about the Capstone's reprinting Bus, and it quickly devolves into an argument about splatter. Man, the internet will argue about anything, won't it? Such a shame. Anyway, I'm excited the Bus is coming back. I think y'all are as well. So, winning, all of us. We all have crosses we must bear, Vince. Not sure if I should stay up here in China and watch this or leave it so I have something to look forward to in the morning. If it's a struggle, go to sleep and look forward to it in the morning. Just thumb it on the way out, all right, Vince? Talking about Age of Steam, Alexander asks, someone on BGG has released a Montreal Metro redraw in the style of Ian O'Toole. I don't know the map, but the redraw looks cool. I wonder if that's our own James. James, who does all the artwork and graphic design for Heavy Cardboard for the weekly look ahead and for the hold screens and all of those things. A lot of his artwork is actually similar. Those two have a similar style, so it very well could be James. He's done a number of maps, gotten the okay to do so, so check those out over on BGG. Banker Dave says, I remember telling my wife, Shar, about you getting all those Age of Steam maps. And she says, don't you dare spend that much money on one game. Sounds like a great buy now. Yeah, for those that don't know, spent a small fortune to be able to get Age of Steam maps a number of years ago. Got, I want to say, 130-ish maps in one collection on BGG. That was, yeah, I'm glad to have done that. Still trying to sell the HeroScape, though. So if anybody wants about $1,500, well, it's worth about $2,200 to $2,500 for $1,500. Am I looking for a massive HeroScape collection? Let me know. Chris asks, what happened to Nog and the Nog, Tales of Northlands? The game had a lot of buzz on it, and during your playthrough, people were super enthusiastic, but any talk of the game has vanished since release. Welcome to board games in 2019. If it's 2 weeks old, it's old news. Yeah, it's. I heard there might have been some issues with the rulebook. I learned from it from the designer as well as the prototype rulebook, and any questions I had, I was able to ask Nick, and that's what I did the teach from. And so I don't know if there were any other things other than that, but I don't know. Honestly, I think it's just nature of the hobby right now that seriously, yesterday's news is old news, and now we're on to the next thing. I mean, obviously, as a reviewer, that's part of the life of this. Obviously, we cover a bunch of older games. I mean, not just games that are getting reprinted, but we cover a lot of older games. Like, I'm trying to get Automobile stream if the patrons would vote for that damn game. Trying to get that stream because I think it's a really good game. You're going to see Masters of Venice, stuff like that. But at the same time, we have to do a fair bit of newer games as well. And it's just, there's a lot of games that come out and things get lost in the shuffle. So life moves on. That's kind of how it goes. Chip, so another 2-stream Monday. Teotihuacan expansion at 11 and then a surprise at 7. Yay. Maybe. We'll see how that goes. Remember, until it's announced, nothing is final in the on the calendar over on heavycardboard.com. So keep that in mind. All right. Undefined says, I bought PAX Premier sight unseen after enjoying an infamous Traffic and Root. Have you gotten to try any of the new Root factions? I have not, but I imagine we can probably talk about it a little bit during the live stream. However, keep in mind that tonight's game, PAX Premier 2nd Edition, designed by Cole, is coming from Cole and his brother's company, Whirligig Games. So Root, who Cole works for Leader Games, and Root is from Leader. So he's not going to have a problem talking about it. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that these are two different companies, though, and keep that in mind and be respectful of that. But no, I personally have not yet, but I'm sure I will soon, which means you'll probably see a live stream of it sooner rather than later. Trucker asks, do you think Greed Inc. should come back? Any impressions on that game? Yeah, I think it should come back. I think it's a pretty cool game. It's definitely it would have to be changed up due to the political climate of current things because it's all about 80s excess, right? But in fact, 1 year ago this week is the first and last time that I've played Greed Inc. Played it at PAX East last year. Me, Jess, Siddharth. I'm trying to remember who else was in that game. I apologize. I think Joshua was in that game. Can't remember who else. I apologize. But no, really enjoyed it. It did drag on a little long for my taste, but it was actually a really clever game. I don't remember a whole lot of the details, but I remember really enjoying it and remember thinking at the end of a long day at a convention, probably not the game I probably want to go with in the future, but I really enjoyed it. Do I think it'll supplant, the bigger splatter games for me? No, but should it come back? Absolutely. I'm sure there's going to be a demand for it. Michael asks, will there be a meetup planned for Origins? You betcha. It's going to be probably over at, oh boy, I can't remember the name of the bar / restaurant that it was last year down in a cavern. across the street from Origins. But yes, that definitely will be happening. Same with at Essen, same with at Gen Con. Reynold asks, any chance of a playthrough for PAX Emancipation? After seeing Bus playthrough, I was wondering where do you rank it compared to the other Splatter masterpieces? All right, 2 different questions here. Playthrough in PAX Emancipation. Yup, we have a partnership with Ion Game Design. So all of Phil Eklund's games and all of Ion Games Design games are going to be coming. We're going to be pacing them out throughout the year, but yes, PAX Emancipation is definitely going to be coming. After seeing where does Bus compare? I don't know. It's quicker than some of the others. It's an easier setup, quicker teardown, which that does matter. It's definitely up there where it would rank. I just did that. I got the hiccups now. Sorry. I don't know, but it definitely would be in the top 6. But I'm not sure exactly where, but I really enjoyed it. Let's put it that way. All right, Undefined says, decent amount of secondhand copies of Masters of Venice on sale at BGG. There's your warning. Do you know what year is expected to Kanban Deluxe? Sam asked, 2020 or later? Don't know. Haven't heard a whole lot. My guess, and this is a guess, I do not know anything more than this, is on Mars. It goes Escape Plan, on Mars, and then probably Kanban, maybe. So we'll see, but I don't know any more than y'all do on that. Ollie, how do you go about selling your games? I don't, mostly. But when I do, BGG auctions, honestly, or I think what I would probably do first is offer them up to patrons in Slack. I think would probably be the way I would do that first now. And then if there's anything left over, then I would probably have a BGG auction. I'm not going to repeat what Paul says, just the second half of it for those that haven't seen the bus stream. Said, love the bus stream. Edward, glory to Rome twice on himself. Yes. So I'm used to running live streams now, obviously. However, there's a lot that I do for these live streams, both before, leading up to, and during that. And I mentioned this on Twitter when somebody was good-naturedly making fun of me doing that exact thing, screwing up twice in the same round and then realizing it and then getting upset at myself. You guys got to remember, I'm prepping to teach. Then I got to prep the intro and do the videos and do all of that and get everything set up the game here, make sure the lighting's right, make sure the Patreon board is correct, and the whole 9 yards. That's before the stream. Then once the stream starts, I have to obviously welcome y'all, make sure everybody here is comfortable, teach the game, and then keep the game moving, keep it interesting, interact with y'all in chat in the peanut gallery, make sure that everybody here is not only keeping it moving, but keeping the chat going as well as their thoughts, and trying to play the game well. So sometimes I forget stuff and I screw things up. That's why a bet on me is probably not the best bet that you could do within our game group. Honestly, if you've watched enough of these, you see that Jess wins probably 3/4 of the games of the streams. Hell, everybody in this game group is a savant, it seems. We have PhD mathematics candidates from MIT in our game group. We have other doctorates. We have doctors. We have lawyers. Dude, we got some really smart people. This isn't to say that we didn't in Denver. Sweater Mike is a PhD. Banker Dave, even with all the drugs back in the 60s, is still a smart cookie. I had Tony. We have Michael Brandt. We had all these guys. So, I mean, let's face it. The majority of y'all out there are probably super intelligent folk. So it's hard. You got to really play well, and a lot of the times I don't. So placing bets on other people are probably more likely to win than me. But it does feel really good when I'm able to actually pull out a win on stream. So that's nice. There we go. Okay, Alexander does say the Montreal Metro map is made by it's made by someone else. Oh, misreading comprehension. My bad. Ross says it seems Capstone has become the go-to line for heavy gamers. They're definitely one of them. That's for sure. And all the partnerships that we have made with various publishers all seem to fit into that wheelhouse. And there are other publishers that are reaching out for similar partnerships, some of which I think will be beneficial for y'all as well. So we'll see what comes of those as well. I like that everyone's trying to ply me for information now. What's your favorite Winsomes? Which of those has Clay played? I don't know what ones Clay's played. My favorite Winsomes, obviously Irish Gauge, South African Rails, well, Age of Steam, obviously. I've been partial to Southern Railways, Southern Rails, Southern Railroads, Southern Railways. I can't remember which it is. And there's probably a bunch of others that I can't think of. Northern Pacific, which got reprinted by Rio Grande. That's stupid easy, but man, it'll make you pull your hair out at the same time. So there's a lot of good ones. Ross, I'd love to see Heavy Cardboard play Pulsar 2849. I blame Paul Grogan on this one. He was supposed to teach me how to play this at either UK Games Expo maybe last year, and he was just too busy because he wanted to teach me his teaching style of it to show me how that is. So I intentionally never learned how to play Pulsar, but at this point I think I need to just go ahead and do it so I can bring it to y'all. I could see that happening coming from CGE. Hey, Chuck, new viewer. Hi, how you doing? Hopefully you're having a good Wednesday. What town am I in? I'm in Wakefield, which is about 25 minutes northwest of Boston now. Used to be in Denver. Yes, Root will be at PAX, because Cole and Leader Games are going to be at PAX. I have not played Duck Dealer, Chris. Dustin says, I'm a new viewer to Heavy Cardboard. Love your work. Hey, thanks. I appreciate it. You know what? Before I go any further, I'm curious. For all you new folks, where'd you hear about the show? I'm curious. Tell me. I'll catch up to it in about an hour in chat. But yeah, tell me, where are you guys hearing about the show? Where are you guys learning of it? And how many of y'all out there are listening to the podcast? He asks, my two favorite games are Advanced Civ, Mega, or Mega Civ, okay, and Twilight Imperium. Any thoughts on those two titles? Twilight Imperium, 1 through 4. I've never played it. I don't have a copy of it. I think it'd be cool to stream it. I know that Shut Up and Sit Down streamed it recently, but I think the way we stream games and the way they do is different. I think streaming something like a Twilight Imperium 4 would be pretty awesome. I think that'd be a lot of fun, even though I've never played it yet. If I can get a copy, then yeah. If you guys are interested, go out on social media and tag Fantasy Flight and Asmodee and let them know that you'd like to see a stream on Heavy Cardboard. Ping them and tag us as well, and I'll chime in as well. All right. As far as the Advanced Civ and Mega Civ, well, Brian Wilcutt, I know that's his favorite game. He has promised me that he would make the trip from Central Texas anytime we are going to do a game of either Advanced Civ or Mega Civ. So I'll tell you what, after Heavycon, let me try and coordinate that and see what works and see if we can get that done in 2019. That'd be pretty cool. Justin asks, any visits planned to this side of the pond, i.e. the UK, before Essen? I don't think so, not this year. As you guys know, last year went to a plethora of conventions and scaling that way back this year to about 6 or 7, not including any local cons, Heavycon, Pax East, stuff like that. So unfortunately, probably not, but Essen is a guaranteed definite yes, it's happening. There you go. Vincent says bought a copy of Masters of Venice secondhand after the Top 50 podcast for $11. Have you played it yet, Vincent? This is a good question. Board Game Trucker asks, any important meetings planned for PAX East? What are the typical topics of interest and typical advice you give publishers? What are meetings like? Nothing is planned for PAX East, but I'm sure that there will be a couple of more informal meetings. And somebody actually asked about this regarding Gamma, and I apologize. With me getting sick at Gamma, I just wasn't up for doing daily diaries, guys, so I apologize for that. It wasn't for any other reason than just wasn't feeling well. But I can kind of talk about both of those in one. So at Gamma, had meetings with Eagle Griffin and had meetings with Board and Dice, had a quick impromptu meeting with the Broken Token. I'm trying to think. Obviously, touching base with Clay at Capstone while I was there, and a bunch of other publishers. A lot of those were a lot more quick and informal. So stuff like Floodgate Games. So ran by, saw Ben at Floodgate Games, and he had told me previously last year that he would love to have us do a playthrough of Bosk, which is their upcoming game. Gorgeous game. The art's by Kwanchai Moria. Beautiful artwork. It's an abstract. That's definitely going to happen. So when I'm standing there at the booth, we're catching up both on a personal level as well as just, hey, how's the family doing? Stuff like that. But also, okay, when we're talking about this, we start talking time frames on, okay, when is it getting a release to the public and timing of getting me an advance copy and when we think the live stream would fit in time-wise to where the full teach would be available for folks before they get their copy of the game so that they can go and look up the game on YouTube and learn the game that way. So coordinating that for anytime we already have pre-established things, it's just more or less firming those up and just connecting and touching base face-to-face, because even though it's 2019 and everybody's on a screen, whether it's on your phone or on your tablet or your computer or anything else, this industry is very face-to-face. Things are a lot more deals happen face-to-face than they do any other way. That's why meetings at places like Origins, Gen Con, Essen, that's why the majority of publishers get their deals done at these conventions, because designers are coming in. They have all their people at these conventions, the whole 9 yards. It's very much a face-to-face thing. So you can always start conversations via email or whatever or whatnot, but it definitely happens in person. So let's see some other stuff. What other things happen? Now I'll talk about Gamma a little bit specifically. So had a meeting with Eagle Griffin and worked out to where we have an official partnership. So even though I was going to technically announce that later today, but here you go for those of y'all that are here live. They are the 5th company that we have an official partnership with. However, it is only for the Age of Steam and for Vital Lacerda's games. And anything else that fits in that mold, meaning the heavy Euro, heavy game. Because let's face it, Eagle Griffin puts out some games that very much are not within our wheelhouse. So the partnership is not for those games. So sat down and we talk the details of that, the timing of everything. Some are a little bit more nebulous as far as, okay, we're talking about this game and we have a pretty firm date on, like, for the On Mars live stream when the Kickstarter is going to go. We're going to be doing the live stream of On Mars during the Kickstarter. We're also going to do a live stream for Escape Plan ahead of the general release so that people have that out there for them already. Then talking money, as far as, because these are partnerships, these are sponsor playthroughs, and the cost of all those. So we go over the details of all of that. And basically, and other people have asked about these partnerships. Basically, what these are is these 5 companies get priority because we limit the number of sponsor playthroughs that we do in a given month. Some months are going to be busier than others, obviously. But with these partnerships, it makes sense because every one of these partnerships, this is something that the herd is going to be interested in. So it just makes sense. And it helps the publisher because they get more eyes on their games. Plus, let's face it, again, these companies, y'all, the viewers of Heavy Cardboard, the members of the herd, y'all are their target audience. So it only makes sense, right? So they get preferred treatment as far as timing of things and making sure that we can schedule those in. And then anyone else where we do one-offs, they fit in where they fit in as best we can. And I have to tell a fair number of publishers, no, I'm sorry, we can't do that, either because it doesn't fit or we just don't have the time. Sorry, we don't have the space. So the meeting with Board and Dice was talking to them for potential partnership as well. And again, much like Eagle Griffin, they kind of have 2 different lines of games. They have the lighter games that really aren't going to be in our wheelhouse. We might enjoy playing them, but it's not something that you're going to see on the show. Games like Inuit, that wasn't a game well, I'm getting ahead of myself, so hold on. So they actually stayed and had us stay an extra day at Gamma, and they wanted to show us, I think it was 4 games. 4 games that they have coming out in 2019 and 2020 for their upcoming lineup, and to see, to show us what all they had coming out, as well as to see if we think fit with you guys, honestly, whether or not we think it's something y'all are going to want to see. And so we're sitting there, we had breakfast, then we went to a little dead-end hallway, and where they have really comfortable chairs, and they had this huge ottoman, which we used as a game table. And we had the guys from Board and Dice. We had Kuba and Iraq and Rainer. And it was me and Jess, and I think I can say this, Scott Morris from GTS was there. GTS is one of the distributors in the world out there. Plus, Scott's just a really nice guy, really cool guy. There were a couple other designers that were hanging out, and we were just hanging out, shooting the breeze, drinking tea and coffee, and having snacks and playing games. And so we played all 4 games, which I can name most of them by name. We played Dust in the Wings, which was a really, really good thinky filler that we really enjoyed. You're probably going to see a live stream of that. It'll be a lunchtime stream in the next handful of weeks. Could be a couple months. I don't know the timing of that. I can't say any more about that. We also played a prototype of Sierra West, which the artwork belies the weight of the game, and we really enjoyed that. That was a good game as well. We played Inuit, which was a fair bit too random for our liking. It was an enjoyable experience, but not a game for us. And the only other thing that I can say about the other game is it's coming down the road. I'm not allowed, I don't think, to say who it's by. It's by a recognizable name. designer, and the game was really good and super brain burny, and I'm really looking forward to that. So we talk about the details of what a partnership would look like between them and us, and that's kind of what those meetings consist of. Now, there are meetings that we sometimes have with designers, like at Essen last year. I had a meeting with Christoph Matsutsik or with brain fart. Sometimes some designer friends of ours, and they'll bring their prototypes for us to take a look at. Andre and Rolf brought us Coffee Traders and wanted to show us Coffee Traders and get our impression of it and get our critiques of the game. Obviously, these are rough prototypes, so graphic design and all that stuff is out. So they just want our feedback on it. And sometimes some of these are unsigned. So Christoph Matsutsik had a couple of games he wanted to show and asked me who I think would be a good match for these games. So he wants to go and pitch these games to certain publishers. And obviously, I have a lot of friends now in the industry, and so I help direct them. Hey, I think this would be a good fit. Is it always the right fit? And do things come of this always? No. Sometimes yes, though, which is kind of cool, right? To have a part in that. It's a small part, but have a part in that and helping these designers get their games published. I think that's really cool. So yeah, there's some of that goes on. And mostly with publishers, it's about live streams as well as making sure securing review copies of games for games that we're going to want, as well as just establishing relationships, because you don't want to have to always wonder, yes or no, am I going to be able to get this game to be able to bring it to you guys, et cetera, et cetera. And so just developing these partnerships, let me back up, developing these relationships with publishers helps you guys. It helps us, which means it helps you guys. And then developing these partnerships, well, it helps me sustain the show, because the patrons, yes, they make up the bulk of my income and my ability to sustain the show. But it fluctuates a fair bit. You guys have seen this number jump around a lot. And honestly, that number's a little high because some of a lot of the annual patrons did not renew. So what does that mean? That means that the partnerships, i.e. the sponsored live streams, help make up that difference. They fill in those gaps for me to be able to maintain the show, but also to hopefully help with increasing the quality of the show. So getting PTZ cameras, which is the next patron goal. Being able to get new cameras to be able to zoom in to different parts of a board for massive boards like High Frontier 4 that's coming later on this year that you guys are going to see. I really need that PTZ camera, and those are like $3,000. So helping with that, stuff like that. So there you go. Hopefully that answers your question, I hope. If that's too much information, then tell me. I don't care that much, and I won't go into that kind of detail. But I figure you guys ask, you're curious, so I might as well tell you. Banker Dave, what drugs? I love you, Dave. I miss you, buddy. Okay, Tony is Scottish, says, I'm not super intelligent folk. But you know what? I love you, Tony, and I'm grateful for you. Thank you. Your wife, however, super smart. What are big lessons publishers should be learning, or game industry big advice right now? Offload your rulebook to somebody that knows how to write rulebooks, number one. Number two, blind playtest your rulebooks, because, yes, you as the designer, developer, publisher, you know the game inside and out. You've been studying this game. You've been working on this game for months, if not years. Of course, things are going to seem obvious to you and implied. but someone else might not see that. So blind playtest your rule books. So let's see. Let's go with that. These are in no particular order. If you are going to use any kind of cultural reference stuff in your game, make sure you include cultural people of that culture when it comes to technical advice. Like in movies, whenever you have war movies or military movies, they use military folks in the military or retired folks from the military to help make sure that things are authentic. Do the exact same thing for cultures. Kudos to Board and Dice for doing that with Inuit. They had on the inside of their rule book, they actually had a full page thing describing who it is that they used and what they did to make sure that they were properly presenting the Inuit culture and the Inuit, just everything related to that. So make sure you're doing that as well. Another is just making sure that terminology is a big deal. It's a bigger deal to some folks than others, but be sensitive to that. That would be the other piece of advice that I would give. Let's see, what else? Trying to think of what else off the top of my head. Don't skimp on graphic design. Graphic design is extraordinarily important. Don't make your games harder to play than they should be. There can be a meshing of graphic design and artwork in which the graphic design and the function trumps form, but there still can be form. And on a selfish standpoint, talking about this from a media standpoint, don't overlook the importance of marketing and media. I think publishers definitely are getting on board with that and seeing the value in what it is that we bring with y'all, right? So off the top of my head, that would be some of the lessons. I'm sure you guys can think of others. Hello, with Nail. I am doing well. Hopefully you are. Israel, correct? Yes, we've played Brewcrafters from Dice Hate Me, Paul. What's your take on it? I enjoyed it. It made me want to play Agricola. The theme in Brewcrafters is fantastic, and it's a solid game. But honestly, if I'm going to play a game like that, I think I would rather play Agricola. That's where I fell on that. And I appreciate that you listened to the podcast, Ross. Thank you. Eric, when can we expect info on whether or not we've snagged an invite for Heavycon or not? So I promised everybody that by April 9th, I would have the location locked down. So here's the deal. I can't send out invites until I have the location locked down because I don't know the costs for how much a ticket is going to be for Heavycon. So I know it's super short this year, and this 100% is on me, guys, because of the move. And normally 6 weeks is not enough time for folks. I understand that, but that's what it's going to be. So it'll be, as soon as I announce that we have a location, I'm going to be sending out invites. So it'll be right around the 10th of April. Eric, that's the best that I can do. Okay. Yeah. Eric asks, with as many live streams as you've done in the past several years, do you ever find yourself trying to do something at a regular game night that you do on a stream? Check chat, switch cameras. Oh, dude, I am so Pavlovian on this stuff. We could be playing downstairs. We're playing in here. It doesn't matter. We could be at someone else's house. All meeples and everything have to lay down because the camera up above. There are so many little things that I do. I still think out loud on all my moves, which really sucks for me being able to win games. I still prod other people to do the same. It's just habit. So yes, I do quite a bit of that, even when not streaming. James, do you think you'd like Space Corp more with an expansion? Hell if I know, James. I'll give it a try though, and I'll let you know then, because I know there's going to be it's going to be it's definitely going to have a plethora of expansions and spin-offs. So we'll see. With Nail, how about a new solo game stream? Absolutely. Look for that in the coming weeks. Let's talk beer. Love the name. That's fun. Even though I don't drink beer, I appreciate the name. He says, heard about Heavy Cardboard when searching for a Teotihuacan playthrough after playing it at Granite Games Summit in New Hampshire a couple weeks ago. Really love your teaches. I appreciate that. Awesome. Thanks for checking out the show and thanks for letting me know. Matt, opening day is upon us. Hell yes. Tomorrow. Go Reds. Over under 500 this season. I would have said over. However, Scooter's injury and now Senzel's injury has me worried. I'm gonna say right at 5. I honestly, I'm gonna say right at 500 now, 81 and 81. But I'll be honest, the NL Central this year is wide open. I'm obviously rooting for anybody that isn't the Cubs, the Brewers, the Pirates, or the Cards to win the Central, i.e., that's all the other teams in the Central but the Reds. Still hate the Cubs, still hate the Cards. I really don't have any ill will towards the Brewers. And the Pirates, they feel like the little kid that is I feel like they have Napoleon's disease. But I don't really have any huge hatred towards the Pirates. I still feel a little dirty rooting for the Red Sox as a side kind of thing because I'm local now. I think I still favor the Astros in the AL. But yeah, looking forward to the season. Really looking forward to the season. I'm gonna be watching the game, have the game on my phone while at PAX East tomorrow. However, I'll probably, if I can't do that, I'll watch it when I get home since I have the MLB package. So there's that. Go Reds. Noel says, sort of new guy. So hi, sort of new guy. Welcome. Yeah, Noel, you've been on one of the other streams, haven't you? I think I recognize the name. Was looking for playthroughs of some games, and yours were by far the easiest to watch and follow. Don't listen to the podcast, though. All right. Well, good. I appreciate the feedback. Thank you. Also, I want to give a big thank you and shout out to all the folks in our local game group who help make this show go now. Previously, thank you, and I've done this to all my friends and folks back in Denver who helped kick all this off and do this. So thank you to them. But I wanted to say the last handful of live streams, I really feel like things have kind of come into their own here. Because after I moved from Denver, I had a new game group here, right? So everybody that's here just about are a bunch of patrons, which is fantastic. They're all members of the herd. But I didn't know them. And so we had to become friends. And everybody in Denver, we were friends for 5 years before the show even existed a lot of times. So I had to develop these relationships with folks. And over the last 6 months or so, I feel like it's really starting to blossom. And I think the live streams are benefiting from these friendships coming through. The fact that we get together and eat and we hang out, and it's not just streaming. It's just other normal everyday stuff, hanging out as friends. I think that's really cool, and I think that benefits the show, and it benefits y'all because everybody's personalities are starting to blossom a bit. and the interactions between us are getting better. So big thank you to everybody who's helping make this possible. I think it's really starting to pay off. It's really going well. So no, as a broke college student, what's the best way to support the show? Spread the word. That's the best way. If you don't want to or you can't support the show through pledgehc.com, spread the word on BGG, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on other online platforms that we won't name, or your local game group. Tell folks about it. That's the best way to spread the word for the show. That's the best way to support the show outside of, you know, that or financially on pledgehc.com, which is coming up. I will point there, scrolling underneath. There you go. That's the best way to do it, Noel. I appreciate you asking. Benjamin, as a Lacerda fan, I'm wondering any planned on-stream Mars or on Mars stream. I already answered that, yes. I don't think you've done a Lacerda Kickstarter before, but you've done an egg one. So on a related note, any plans for Escape Plane? Answered that as well, yes, because of the partnership we have with them, yes. Joseph, will you be doing a revised Agricola with Farmers of the Moor in the near future? I don't have the revised version of Agricola or Farmers of the Moor. So unless I get a copy, the answer is no. So we'll see. Again, you guys can always help us. If you want to see some of these games, get on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and tag the publishers. And make sure you tag us as well so it brings it to our attention as well, to where we can get these games and show them off to y'all. All right? Ali says he learned about heavy cardboard through a recommendation from a friend. Thank you, Ollie's friend. Well done. Michael Kemp, thoughts on playing 18xx on every 18th of the month? I like where your head's at. Not going to happen, but I like where your head's at because scheduling. And yes, Paul, also thumb the videos and subscribe to the channel. That's another great way to help support the show. But spreading the word and then pledgehc.com. Chip came across the heavy cardboard teach for Scythe. All right, cool. Hadn't heard about 18xx until then. Now he's desperate to play. Well, come to Boston. We can play a game, Chip. And Vincent says, hasn't played Masters of Venice yet, but maybe in the upcoming Dutch herd, the Dutch heavy cardboard game day. Awesome. I appreciate that. Alex says, I like the way you teach games. Whenever you explain something hard to grasp, you make up an example to explain it, give the rule context, easier to understand. I'm always nervous about that because it takes a little bit of time. If for whatever reason I don't have an exact example set up on a board during a live stream for a teach, sometimes if I'm like, oh, I probably while I'm teaching, I'm thinking, oh, I probably ought to, drive this point home a little bit more. Sometimes I feel like I do it a little too much, and setting up the example sometimes takes time, or I'll screw it up or whatever, and I get nervous as well. And I don't want to waste y'all's time, and I want to keep it moving along. And so I'm really hard on myself. So it's good to hear that you actually like me doing that and you're patient with it. So I appreciate that, Alex. Thanks. Alex says, however, on the other hand, not a big fan of the change in style in the recent CO2 play stream. Fair enough. I heard enough feedback on that the overwhelming majority of folks prefer the heavy teach up front, meaning just offload all of the rules up front, unless it's just something that it doesn't make sense unless you see it, and when we get to it, that's going to stay. But yeah, I'm going to do all the front-loaded teaches going forward. There's going to be exceptions to that. Tonight's live stream with PAX Premier is going to be one of those exceptions because of the fact that, well, Cole's going to teach it, and he does a running teach. So there's that. But whenever I teach the game, that's how it's going to be from now on. And we're going back to how it was. So rest assured about that. Wow, I'm behind. With Nail says, I'm thinking about starting my own podcast for solo games in Hebrew and English. That's awesome. Good stuff. Do it. That's the hardest thing. People ask for advice on starting a podcast. Step one, do it. Don't worry about your mics, your equipment, all that. All that is secondary. If the content is good, people will listen. It'll be difficult for them with crappy equipment, but they will persevere. I know this because you can go back and listen to our early episodes of the podcast, and people stuck around. So, yeah, good for you. Appreciate that, Dustin. Mage Knight. I would love to stream Mage Knight at some time, at some point, James, for sure. Honestly, there's pretty much nothing that I wouldn't consider streaming solo, if it makes sense, obviously. There are going to be some games that we're just never going to stream because they're just like giant monster war games, stuff like that. The table's not big enough, and yeah. High Frontier is probably the extent, the furthest that we're going to go. High Frontier, Stellar Horizon, stuff like that are probably the biggest games that we're willing to do, or that capable of do. I want the what's it called? Mage Knight. It's not the anniversary edition, but the complete edition. I want to get a copy of that so I can stream that. That'd be awesome. BGT asks, what's your top advice for content creators and reviewers on YouTube and on podcast? What are your major challenges you see for them and things you would do differently? Number one, be passionate about what you do. Find your niche and go with it. Stick to it. Be as consistent as you can be and be enthusiastic about it, i.e., and that's where the passion comes from. So, because the single biggest piece of advice I can give outside of just do it is this is far more work than you ever thought it was going to be. It's fun and I'm passionate about it, but it's a sick amount of work. Be prepared for that and stick with it. Do not, whatever you do it because you want to do it. Don't do it because you want to make money. The podcast was 2.5 years into it before we even breached the subject of trying to make any money to offset our costs. And then people started talking about, oh, maybe you could do it full time. And that kind of put a bug in my ear. So it needs to be passion and drive first. Money should not even be a consideration until a couple years into it, in my opinion. There's a lot of people putting the cart before the horse, I see. And I think that's the wrong way to go about doing it because those things don't last. If you're not super passionate about it, it doesn't matter. It's not going to last. No matter the amount of money that people are supporting you with, doesn't matter. It won't last. So you better be passionate because it's a sick amount of work. And honestly, anytime you put yourself out there, you're going to have some really, really ugly people to deal with. And there are still people out there that choose to be really ugly and nasty to me for one reason or another. I'm human, and it's unfortunate, and it hurts. And you try and just... But some people are just sad people, and they take it out on you. That's something you're going to have to deal with. Money doesn't make that better or easier. So keep that in mind as well. It doesn't matter if you're straight, if you're gay, if you're trans. It doesn't matter if you're a guy, you're a girl. It doesn't matter if you're white, you're black, you're Asian. It doesn't matter. People are going to be ugly to you on the internet, especially when you put yourself out there like this. And the bigger and more consumed that your content gets, the more that happens. One other piece of advice I would give on that note is, and I am really bad about this, and so this is probably my biggest struggle that I have with the show, honestly, is don't let the detractors drown out, because there's so few of those, but they are so loud sometimes. Don't let them drown out all the positives that people are telling you, because it's a whole lot easier to dwell on 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives and completely not even hear the 100 positives. That is way easy to do, and you can go down some really dark holes sometimes. And just try and focus on the positives. And on that note, control the things you can control. Don't worry about number of views. Don't worry about number of thumbs. Don't worry about how big your Patreon is or not. Don't worry about how big your Kickstarter is or not. Don't worry about how many people download your things or not. Control the things you can control. Once you learn to do that, things are pretty good. You get into a good headspace. And you know what? I'm really happy and I'm really proud of the content that's coming out. And so it makes those detractors, it makes it a whole lot harder for those people to reach you to where you can just do this. So that would be my other big piece of advice. Focus on the things you can focus on, control the things you can control, and put out the very best content that you can put out. And make sure you're enjoying it and that you're passionate about it. Let the chips fall where they may. And as long as you're enjoying it and as long as you're passionate about it, absolutely, do you. So that's what I would advise. New Board Order asks, can we fund a poker night for you? Use it to take a shot at 3,000 for a new camera. I genuinely appreciate that. It doesn't work that way. I would not be okay with that, because honestly, that would add too much pressure and I wouldn't want that. No, just understand that I desperately would like to bring a PTZ camera to the show, but I can't afford to do it out of pocket. So the show's we gotta get to the next patron goal. We get to the next patron goal, we got a PTZ camera. So there's that. I appreciate it though, New Board Order. On that note, someone asked, I think it was on BGG in the thread that I started for this, how many hours a day or a week do I put into the show? Obviously, that varies, some more than others. There are days I put in 18 hours. There are other days I put in 6. But I don't take days off, really. I take half days off here or there. But that's going to change once Heavycon is locked down and all the patron rewards are caught up. And I'm going to start taking 1 day a week for myself, which is healthy, I think is good. And on that note, I'm going to play around with a tiny offshoot. I'm thinking of doing this anyways, a little poker vlog. Because I'm still really passionate about playing poker, and just doing it. It'll be completely unrelated to Heavy Cardboard. It'll be under Edward Euler. It'll be under my name. Something on YouTube, and see how it goes, and see if that takes way too much of my time. And if it does, then it won't happen. But yeah, I'm thinking about maybe getting back into just really tracking my poker playing, as far as studying hands and this and that on my day off. It's still the focus, and 99% of my focus is still going to be on the show. Relax. I love this too much for it not to be. But my other second passion is playing poker. So yeah, and for those that don't know, I used to play poker professionally until the government took it away online. And so I would like to get back into playing live once a week, something like that. Once every, or maybe 2 days every couple weeks, something like that. So just, anyway, I've been toying with the idea in my head. So there's that. Felix, hi, Heavy Cardboard. Hi, Felix. Edward, Time of Crisis expansion. Please make a teaching video. Done and coming soon ish. Next couple of months. Coming. Trucker asks, do you ever think about doing more conversational and topical shows on YouTube? I particularly would enjoy these more than gameplay teaches. There's only so many hours in a day. Maybe down the road, but not right now. But I am one person. There's only so many hours in a day. If you could pick out any old game 15 plus years out of print, wow, that's really old, Ross, and have it reworked given the restoration games treatment, what would be your first pick? Oh, God. I'll tell you what, Ross. List some games and help me out with that, because I can't think of anything outside of Democker. Democker is the only thing that comes to mind, and that's getting reprinted. So help me out with that, all right? Philip, have you played any of the earlier Golden Elephant Award winners recently? Are you planning on revisiting older games that you've reviewed? I assume, Philip, you're talking about on the podcast. I would love to. The thing is with those is I have to get somebody as a guest host to be able to go over them with me that has played those older Golden Elephant Award winners. So I probably am going to regret doing this, trying to remember them all. But Madeira, we have Lisboa, we have Arkwright, we have Food Chain Magnate. Is that it? Am I forgetting one? Then we have whatever this year's will be. Am I forgetting one? I think that's it. Have I played any of those recently? Madeira, right before we moved. Or before I moved, I guess. Yeah, I would love to go back and revisit those. That's great. That's probably going to be coming in episodes coming sooner rather than later. Did Reddit ban me for life, or is it temporary? The subreddit Board Games banned me for life, apparently. I think that's what it was. For self-promotion. What, a year and a half ago? So, yeah. They've moved on. I've moved on. There you go. Evan, the Reds won't win anything until they commit to winning. Senzel should have made the team and should have been playing second place in Scooter Jeanette's absence. He's healthy. Small market teams do have to make small or smart decisions. I understand them sending him down for 2 weeks. However, him moving to center field, if they think he can be, and moving Peraza over possibly to second base, which would improve the defense, I think that's the right decision. So I don't necessarily agree with that, Evan. But I can see both sides of it. MBO, I just hope my Orioles aren't the worst team in baseball this year. Doesn't look good. But you know what? Hope springs eternal. Every team is 0-0 right now. Okay, minus the Japanese opening weekend thing. Signed bitter Senzel fantasy owner. Aha! There's the truth, Evan. Philip, can we expect a Brass Birmingham review anytime soon? That absolutely could happen as well, yes. Chad, it's hard to hate the Pirates, but it's Pittsburgh, so I try to hate them. See? All right. Chad says, don't root for the Red Sox, Edward. Let's put it this way. I've never lived anywhere where the home team, where I get to root for the home team. every time I've lived somewhere, it's always been I have to root for the visiting team because I'm a bit of a mutt when it comes to sports. Because growing up in Portland, Oregon, the closest thing that we had was Seattle, but I already had my allegiances to teams with that. So I got the Oregon Ducks, huge Oregon Duck fans. Go Ducks tomorrow, Sweet 16. Just saying, go Ducks. Take down Virginia. So we have the Oregon Ducks. I have Dallas Cowboys. My dad's from Texas. He's from Dallas. I grew up a Cowboy fan because of him. So there's that. I grew up an Eric Davis and Barry Larkin fan, so that's why I grew up a Cincinnati Reds fan. Plus, we don't have any baseball. The closest thing was Seattle, but I was a huge Ken Griffey Jr. fan, so there's that. But that's where the Reds come from. The Trailblazers, I don't really follow basketball that much, but there's that. And I have the Vancouver Canucks because my best friend up in Canada, Jody. Hey, what's up, Jody? He is a season ticket holder for the Canucks. And so I hate the Cubs and Cardinals because I'm a Reds fan, and I hate the Boston Bruins because of the 2011 Stanley Cup. And Brad Marchand, I think evil, horrible thoughts about him. Hate the Bruins. I have no ill will towards any other Boston team. So you know what? Unless my Reds are here, I'm probably going to, when I go to Fenway this year, which I haven't been yet, super stoked to go to Fenway, I'll probably pull for the Red Sox because it'd be nice to actually pull for a hometown team. But if the Reds come to town, go Reds, obviously. Undefined. Great. Now I have to get Time of Crisis. Undefined says he's watched a good amount of the live streams so much that I start thinking out loud. Oh, that's funny when it happens with your casual work group. Chip, will we do a podcast to Tsukiyumi? I don't know. I don't know if we would or not. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. All right, transitioning out of sports talk now. Vincent, would you consider running 2 Ask the Elephants a month, one for international and one for domestic? Working causes our game group to miss 90% or all of the Ask the Elephant. I'll take that under consideration. Sure. I appreciate the heads up, Vincent. We're on to cup number 2 now. I appreciate that. Michael says he reached out to GMT to get us a copy of 1862 for a playthrough. Appreciate it. You do. Tony says, I might not be bright, Edward, but I got great taste in board game content. Agreed. I know Ricky Royal did a series of videos for Mage Knight, right? Yeah, I would love to do a solo or like 2 or 3 player game of Mage Knight and do a full teach and playthrough of it. That would have to be on a weekend, but yeah, that'd be awesome. I love you for this, PPK. A few Ask the Elephants ago, I asked about the apple in the background on top of the sea. Yep, it's there. I never received a satisfactory reply. Now it's been joined by a banana. Is the plot coming to fruition? Well played. And yes, it is. James says, I'm shooting some informational videos for YouTube discussing some legal topics for my clients. Can you recommend camera, mic equipment, and video editing software? James, that depends on the budget. Well, if you're a lawyer, I imagine you have some good money, but I don't know how much you want to invest in that. So shoot me an email if you want, and I can try and answer that a little bit better, okay? Alexander says, I've tried to shoot a teaching video for 1830 on the computer program in English and without a script, and it's really hard to the point I might write a script and reshoot it entirely. A lot harder than it looks, ain't it? And that's recorded. Whenever I do any recording things, it takes me about 20, 25 takes. I hate doing recorded content. It's part of the reason we do live. Although, you only get one take live. You better get it right. So there's that. I appreciate that, Paul. Where do I play poker? When I go, Springfield, at the MGM Springfield. It's about 90 minutes due west of here. I went down the Foxwoods once in Connecticut and hated it. Haven't been to Mohegan Sun. I would like to make a trip to Mohegan Sun once. But I'm really comfortable at Springfield, honestly. And June 24th, the Wynn Encore opens about 15, 20 minutes away. Yeah, buddy. Gonna have a massive poker room. However, I just heard parking's gonna be $29 a day. What? That hurts. Hopefully they can validate parking. $29 a day to park because the parking is so horrible downtown Boston. Have I thought about doing a stream for 1889? Yep, William. All the 18xx ones. I'm gonna try and do one every couple months. And see how it goes. If I can get the people in. There's a lot of people that are interested in them that haven't played them. And to be honest with you, I was a little reticent to do some of them with newer folks to Trend Games because of the comments and some of the old gatekeepers of 18xx are just pretty crappy with their comments and their opinions. But honestly, I really couldn't give two craps about them. So, you know what? We're not making these videos for them. So, yeah, I think we're going to start doing that more. Reynald, in my head, I'm thinking of you playing poker and thinking out loud your strategy and telling your cards, referring to the board game playthroughs. I know you're killing it at poker. I'm not killing it, but I'm doing all right. But yeah. Hey, is it Jens? Because it's Danish. So is it Jens? Not Jens? Jens, right? Says, the top 50 was great. Glad you enjoyed it. How about live streaming Dominant Species? Regards from Denmark. Yes. We've done a Glory to Rome session of Dominant Species for patron only, i.e. we don't self-edit. We don't, there it is. We don't use the Glory to Rome board. We let the real words fly in the Glory to Rome sessions for patrons only. But a regular Dominant Species one I would love to do. We'll probably do it 5 players here. Yes. I know nothing about the Newcastles of Burgundy edition, right? Oh, I'm sorry. No idea. Do I have one of those electric cup warmers for my tea? I do. It's a cheap Mr. Coffee one. I don't use it much, though, because it has an on-off switch and it doesn't automatically turn off. And when I turn everything else off, I sometimes forget about that, and I'm scared it's going to catch the house on fire. So, unfortunately, I just keep them on the floor, and I use my insulated mug. The first one is my non-insulated one, and once I go through that, then I switch to the insulated one because of the fact that this keeps it warmer longer. So it's actually the Mr. Coffee one sitting right over there, but I don't use it because I'm terrified to forget to turn it off. I forgot to turn it off once, and I was like, nope, not doing that again. Stefan, congratulations. Has been missing a lot of live streams currently since my firstborn arrived in January. Hopefully you're finding some sleep, but congratulations, Stefan. When does the upcoming schedule what does the upcoming schedule of playthroughs look like? Hell if I know. We haven't figured out April yet. I'm a little behind on that. You'll know it next week. Evan, when does the porn start? Wait, you don't think it hasn't? I kid. As people start no, don't stop. No. Bort says, greetings from Germany. Hi, what's up? Lignum is a 2-player game. Works? Yes, it does. Hey, Rolf. Hey. I have Coffee Traders right here. By the way, if you guys didn't watch the bus live stream, we actually showed off some of the prototype stuff from Coffee Traders at the end of that video. You may want to go check that out if that is such a thing that interests you. I say that because Rolf Sagel, he's one of the 2 designers of Coffee Traders. What's up? Rolf says, Yolanda and I are sitting on the couch watching you here. Hi, Yolanda. How are you doing? I hope things are going well. Hopefully we see you at Essen this year. I know maybe not, but if we make it to the Netherlands again, hopefully we'll be able to say hi. All right. I'm wondering, why J-Rex? You probably mention this often, but we honestly don't know. By the way, thanks for being you. Love y'all. J-Rex, one of the, I forget who it was, but somebody in the Peanut Gallery made the joke. So we've always joked that Jess, she's short. She's 5'4", I think. And so she went to go reach for something on a stream, and you know, she's 5'4", so she doesn't have long arms like I do, or like a lot of like Andrew's like 6'4", so we have longer arms. And she was like, I can't reach. I'm like a T-Rex. And then somebody was like, T-Rex, Jess, J-Rex. And there you go. And it just stuck. So J-Rex. Plus, she's feisty. And so, you know, when, you know, she can get, you know, feisty. So like a velociraptor or T-Rex. So big head, short arms, you know, cartoon or what was it? It was Toy Story, right? I think that's what it was. Anyway, so yeah, it came from the Peanut Gallery and it just stuck. So there's that. What up, Nick R? New board order. Are there other content creators that you hang out with when you go to cons? Do you consume other content from other creators? If you do, what are your favorites? Oh, that's a tricky question. Do I hang out with other content creators? Not really. I don't go out of my way to, and I don't go out of my way to not. Honestly, when we go to cons, most of the time I'm working, in a sense that I'm either taking PAX East and stuff like that out of it. So let's say like Essen. When I'm at Essen, I'm either at the booth meeting viewers and listeners of the show at whatever booth is hosting us, or I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, going to different publishers, going to booths, picking up review copies, having meetings, and doing all that. So after hours, it's me, Jess, and friends, and anybody that wants to hang out with us. Like, we don't have any set group. Board Game Media can be a bit cliquish, but we get along with most of them. So, like, Efka and Elaine, no pun included. John from John Gets Games. The Shut Up and Sit Down fellas. I mean, we're friends with all of these people. The Punchboard Paradise. Jeremy from Jambalaya. God, and now that I'm listing stuff, the people I don't list are going to think I don't let... this is such a slippery slope. Tom at Dice Tower. Let's see. Oh, Paul Grogan, Gaming Rules. He and I co-hosted the charity auction at UK Games Expo. And in all honesty, that's the reason I want to go back to the UK Games Expo this year, is to help host that again, because we raised like, I think 3,000 quid for charity for that, and it was an amazing time. Oh, and by the way, thank you to Efka and Elaine. That was really cool in their latest review of the Estates that just dropped. By the way, Efka, it's Euler, not Euler. It's Euler. He gave a shout out to the show and said, "Hey, if you haven't seen the Estate/Neue Heimat playthrough, go check it out." So I appreciate that. That was unexpected and very kind. And Efka sometimes drops in on live streams, as do a couple of other content creators. Tiffany, the One Tar, Maggie Bot. So we hang out with whoever we hang out with, just whoever wants to hang out. If we have free time, a lot of times we find ourselves hanging out with Clay from Capstone because we're friends, or other publishers, but not because it's that. It's just who wants to hang out. The end. I don't consume a ton of other creator content here and there just because of time. I'm busy working on my own stuff. So there's that. Henry, yep, played Greed Inc. 1 year ago this week at PAX East. Enjoyed it. Undefined says, since Coffee Traders doesn't have a BGG page yet, what's the approximate play time? More complex than Wildcatters, but less complex than... That's a heavy... Well, I don't know. Rolf, if you're still here, chime in. Playtime on that. About an hour per player. Probably on par with something like Arkwright. Maybe a little bit less. All right, Jens, I nailed it. Cool, good. That's a rough guess. Keep that in mind. That's not a... I don't want to speak out of line, but Rolf would be able to answer that better. Have fun, Tony. Thanks for hanging out, dude. Ross says, my wife thought Lignum looked fun. God bless her. That's awesome. Where does it fall on the heavy cardboard weight scale? Definitely medium heavy for the amount of planning that comes into play, I think. Oh, hey, hold on one second. Cheers, Dustin. All right. Number 746. Thank you, Dustin. Ah, that's hot. Make sure I didn't miss any others. Thank you. Welcome to the herd. Thank you, Rolf. I'm in. Say it says, if you come to the Netherlands, say hi to me as well. I'll take you guys out to one of the best Mediterranean food around here. Done. Yes, please. Christopher asks, Jess ever considered doing a top games list? I don't know. I'll ask her. And if so, then maybe the next time I do it. There's that. Turkish food. Yes, yes, please. What is my favorite Stonemaier Games title? Henry asks. Probably Viticulture with the Tuscany expansion. Paul says, love the little spot you did catching the game that Tom threw off the roof. Vasco da Gama. I can't remember the game. Yeah, Vasco da Gama. That was a lot of fun. I asked Tom if he had a problem if I did that. He got a kick out of it as well. So, do you think we'll see other splatter games getting the bus treatment? I genuinely don't know. Maybe it's possible, like something like Greed Inc. Maybe, I don't know. New board order. Super excited for the Asgard playthrough. I'm excited for the playthrough. I am dreading getting ready for the teach on that. That is going to be one wacky teach. Whew, that's going to be hard. All right. I am caught up. I got about 18 minutes left. All right. So I have a couple of questions from the herd, both on the in the guild as well as BGG, or from the guild on BGG 2044, by the way, as well as over on the Slack channel for the patrons. Oh, by the way, here's a quick little glance. Look, whoop, there. All right, done. Oh, what was that? That was Teotihuacan expansion? Oh, you'll have to wait till Monday for the rest of it. All right. Matt asks, have you thought about editing the game teaches and posting them as separate videos after the fact? That's something I'm desperately wanting to do. However, I think that's going to benefit the show immensely. But it's going to take time to be able to do that. So I'm actually thinking about bringing somebody on to try and help with that. I believe people are scared off from the lengthy videos that you could see an increase in channel size by some smaller videos dedicated to the rules without compromising what your channel is about. 100% agree with you, Matt. And it's something I really want to do. It's just, I have so much on my plate trying to find the time to do that. I'm going to have to bring somebody on to help with that. But I don't know who's going to want to do that. So we'll figure that out. But yes, I very much want that to be done. Any thoughts about adding a link to Amazon or wherever to purchase the games you're demonstrating and add some revenue to the channel? Purchased a few games as a result of your streams. Only fair you get something out of it also. Question number 1. Only a few, Matt? Really? A few? I guess that means 3 or more. So there's that. But I'm kidding. I don't know. I would rather actually give links to local game stores or online game stores, but we don't have any that are sponsors. So, I think it's okay to miss out on that avenue, that revenue stream. I think that's okay for now. Third question from Matt. These are all really good, by the way. With all of the partnerships with publishers announced recently, 5 of them, possibly a 6th coming. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Are you concerned about your ability to play what you want and avoid burnout with commitments? Is it your concern with the established game group? The game group's all for this. They're excited about this. I've actually touched base with all of them for this. We have a private Slack group, channel for the Heavy Cardboard game group here in town, and they're on board with it. I'm not worried about burnout with the commitments because these are games that we would cover probably anyways. It's just we're being able to bring them to y'all earlier in a more timely fashion that helps the publisher as well. So it's a win-win. So no, I'm not worried about that at all. And Matt, last one. Hold on. Trying not to sneeze. Matt says, the podcast appears to me to be a lesser passion right now. The quality has been excellent lately, in my opinion, but compared to the massive amount of content on YouTube, it would appear to be a second fiddle to YouTube. Where does it stand with you? I still enjoy doing the podcast. I'm excited about the podcast. However, the podcast requires far more work than any of the live streams do. And it's just harder to do. And it's a matter of, I have to maintain this. Our patrons, which to be able to continue to do this full time, but it's definitely still a passion of mine, but it's just, it requires multiple plays of a game. It requires getting somebody else and coordinating that time with someone else and them doing a lot of prep work as well for the podcast. And it's just, whereas the live streams, they usually require somebody or everybody else to have played the game once. Sometimes there are some exceptions to that. Life happens. But for the most part, since I'm teaching the game and we're just playing through it on the stream, it requires no effort on their behalf. So they come and show up and play a game on camera in front of you guys. So while that's effort, don't get me wrong, and it's something that I depend on, that requires a whole lot less effort than the podcast does. So it's just a matter of, it's just a lot harder and it requires more time than the live stream. So it's just, that's why it's once every 2 weeks. It's the best I can do with it. So that's where it stands. All right. Board Gamer Mom, are there any games you enjoy playing digital? I think the only one I've played is Potion Explosion. I've played Through the Ages and Star Realms and San Juan, or is it Puerto Rico? One of those two. I forget. And I think that's it. I've enjoyed those, but it's really not my thing. It's just not what I choose to do. If I'm going to play video games, I'm going to play like an RPG type video game, something like a Skyrim or a Borderlands or something like that. Event Horizon. I can never remember the name of that one. Anyway, you get Red Dead Redemption, stuff like that. I have played Euphoria. I haven't played it with the new expansion. I was a bit underwhelmed by Euphoria. I haven't played it with the expansion, Henry. Oh, yeah, Morton wrote you a while ago about payment issues in the shop. So here's the weird thing. Some people seem to be having issues going through the store to purchase things. The majority of folks aren't. I don't have an answer for you. I've reached out to Squarespace, who is our host. I have no idea what's going on because orders are coming through no problem, except a couple of people in particular are having issues. What I would suggest, Morton, is for whatever it is you want to buy, I would suggest shooting me an email telling me, hey, I want to buy these things. Make sure I respond, and then just PayPal it over to heavycardboard@gmail.com. And I think that would be the best way to go around it. Let me know if that works. Okay, Morton? And there was one other person that was having that issue as well that I've heard. Reynald says, hi, Edward. Just wanted to highlight that PAX Premier 2nd Edition backers will see for the first time what the game production looks like. Huge thanks. I know. I'm excited about it, too. I've seen pictures, but I haven't seen the 2nd Edition in its final form, so I'm stoked for it, too. Cole's bringing it with him and hopefully leaving it here. PPK says, on separate rule teaches, why not simply post the teaching parts of the existing playthrough videos as separate videos? Because they require intros, they require intro videos to be made for them, and then I have to go in and cut them out, and all. It just requires time that I'm spending this time on other stuff. So it's just a matter of doing that and making that time, and I haven't yet, PPK. And yes, okay, Rolf says, coffee traders be a 2-hour playtime, which that means 2 to 3 hours, because Rolf's the designer and he can just fly through the game. He says the first game's going to be 3 to 4 hours, though. And he asks, is it more complex than Wildcat? Yes. Yes, it is. It's more complex and it's heavier, but both of those things I think are good qualities for the game. Horizon Zero Dawn. There you go. Evan, how many times do I have to prompt you on it? I know. I can't. My bad, Evan. Sorry. Trucker, I can't find your thoughts on Twa. Can you give me a brief summary on what you thought? Didn't like it. Or you can go into the dice play. There's a lot of reasons I should like it, but I just didn't. It just didn't grab me. Yeah, it just didn't grab. Favorite Feld games: Trajan, Macau, Bora Bora, Spiekerstadt, Strasbourg, Castles of Burgundy. There you go. In no particular, well, Castles of Burgundy would be probably number 1, and then the others fall in behind it. Why didn't I like Euphoria? I didn't like the race aspect of it. The first one to get all their star, it just the end felt unsatisfying. It just didn't grab me. Hey, Brad. Oh, an 18XX con in Delaware with about 75 folks. Bruce Beard and Pierre LeBouf and a few other oh, have fun. Derail. Have fun, Brad. Good stuff. Yeah, you're going to get housed, but enjoy it. But you know it going in, so there's that. All right. So getting back to this, Mate asked in the guild, did you sell the house in Denver? Yup. Bittersweet. Glad to be out from under it. Kind of love the house, though. Jess has been on most every live stream I've watched lately. Is she your girlfriend? Uh-huh. Would you play online poker again if it was available again in the US? Probably, but I know for a fact that online has gotten so much tougher than when I last played it. I probably wouldn't be nearly as good at it as I did because I can't dedicate the time to it. So would I play it? I might dabble, but I think going and playing live, because live games are still so soft. Yeah, I think I would still go and try and crush live games. How many hours are you working on the show on an average day? 10 to 12? 7 days a week on average, I would say. Some days more, some days less. Tim, this is kind of piggybacking on what Matt asked earlier. There's so much stuff coming out on YouTube. I wish some of it will make its way to the podcast, as I don't typically have time to sit through an entire playthrough. My question for you, Tim, is what content that is coming out on YouTube that you would like to see on the podcast that translates well? Let me know that, and that's something I would absolutely consider. So let me know. And that's not just for Tim, that's for any of y'all out there. How do I see the YouTube videos influencing the podcast or vice versa? Do you prefer one medium over the other? Perhaps what are the strengths of each format? The podcast, that's where all the reviews come from. I enjoy being able to delve deep into a game like that and really be able to drive home the things I really like and don't like. So that's it on the podcast. I don't know that YouTube is influencing the podcast or vice versa, honestly. I think if you put a gun to my head, I think I much prefer YouTube or the live streams over the podcast for one very simple reason: the interaction between y'all and me. I think that is fun. It's really enjoyable. That's why, yes, anybody can watch the live streams after the fact, the playthroughs, and tens of thousands of people do, which is awesome. But being there live and being able to interact with me and everybody else at the table, I think adds something to y'all. And it's a lot of fun for us, and it adds to the enjoyment of the game for all of us. So yeah, and the strengths of it, I think I do a pretty good job of teaching these games, and I think the playthroughs do an excellent job of letting you guys come to your own conclusions about games and deciding whether or not they're good matches for you and your group. And I think that's far more important than my opinion or mine and Greg's opinion or mine and whoever my guest host's opinion is. So yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think YouTube, or if we were to do anything on Caffeine or over on Twitch or anything like that, I think there's a lot of merit to that. And I think that's a huge strength for the live streams. What would be your, let's say, top 3 games that you'd like to play in heavy rotation if you weren't so bound by the show schedule? Automobile probably be up there, believe it or not. Age of Steam would be up there. And just, I think those two, at least Automobile, because I'm chomping at the bit to play it. I'm sure I wouldn't want to play it over and over and over. I really like being able to go through a bunch of these games like this. Age of Steam's probably the biggest one that I would like to sit on, if you will, and be able to come back to more. And the popularity of the live streams seems to indicate you all feel the same, so maybe we can do that more. Bill, do you keep in touch with the old crew back in Denver, and how are they doing? Well, you guys see Banker Dave in the Peanut Gallery. You see Michael Brandt here on occasion. Some of the other folks I've tried to reach out to that don't seem too keen on keeping up the relationship. Kleiker, I definitely do. One of my very best friends, as are the others, don't get me wrong. But yeah, those 3 mainly, as well as Brian, and a few others here and there. So yeah, they all seem to be doing well from what I've heard. So that's good. All right, let me catch back up. Morton says, I'm now a legal resident of the herd again. Yay! I got it. Thank you, Morton. So, welcome back, Morton. It's not going to change that because annual, that's still too high compared to where it should be. So, bear with me. No E, no Year of the Dragon. Really, No, no one has reached out for the Reef Encounter review yet. Antiquity or Feast for Odin? Only one for the rest of your life? Oh, that's the easiest question ever, Henry. Antiquity, and it's not even close. Paul, all the old Glory to Rome streams are still available to patrons. You just have to get the links on Patreon. Yeah, Agricola. That'd be another good one. Good call, Banker Day, for if, games that I would like to play a lot often. Yeah, that would be it. All right. Couple more here, and then we're going to wrap it up. Darren asks, does the enjoyment of Millennium Blades imply more exploration of games in that zone of, I hate the art, the randomness? I don't hate it, just not my cup of tea. The art, the randomness, and the theme, and the X and then Y, but it's just fun, so now it gets a stream, which does seem a duplicate of the eternal more Ameritrash question. If the game fits and we enjoy it, then yeah. Like, are you ever going to see Betrayal on House on the Hill? Probably not. You going to see Arkham Horror? No, probably not, because I don't feel like there's a ton of meaningful decisions in those games. Whereas there is in Millennium Blades. And not saying that there aren't. Forbidden Stars is another. So, yeah, you're going to see some Ameritrash here and there where they make sense. Darren also asked, during the bus stream, I was thinking about the implications of a good-looking splatter. I can't help but think the idea of, I don't care about the looks as long as the gameplay is good, is dead commercially, i.e. publishers that pay for Ian O'Toole's artwork, and those who have a lot of stock gathering dust on a shelf. Do you think this collaboration is some sort of turning point, or maybe Capstone itself is a consequence of market realities that have already established themselves, or maybe I'm just nuts and will always have publishers publishing games that look like they were drawn in Lotus 1, 2, 3? I don't think that's the motivation here. I think people are misreading, and this is my read on things. This is not a hard, fast, this is the truth. My thinking is, and I do know that the fellas at Splatter, Yoris and Jeroen, they had reprint fatigue. They don't get excited about reprinting one of their games because they're creators. They want to be able to create something new. Going back and revisiting isn't something that they enjoy doing. So these reprints is taxing on them. Whereas Clay was really excited about doing this, so it made sense to have somebody else do the reprint. Does this mean that Splatter isn't going to work with them on new games in the future? I don't know the answer to that. But I don't think that a massive commercial success is what Splatter is about in general. And in fact, I know that's the case. They don't need the money. The fellas, Joris owns his own company, and Jeroen's doing okay as well. They do this because they love doing this. They don't do it to have massive hits and print money. I realize some people think that's stupid because you should be trying to make the most money possible. Some people don't think like that. And so you take Winsome, right? I know John Bohr is retiring soon. Is somebody going to take up Winsome? I don't know. Does that mean that those games are going to, if let's say John Bohr were to continue doing it, would that change because he could make more money? No. Some people just do it for the passion, and they're okay with the drawn in Lotus 1, 2, 3, as you say. So I think people are learning as a whole that there can be a merging of form and function, as long as function trumps form. If there comes to be a something that, you have to choose one. Choose function, please. Do I think there's going to be a cataclysmic shift in this? No, I don't. Do I think that people are learning, though, that there are benefits to doing that? Yes, that I think so. So hopefully that helps answer that. Lauren asks, any plans for a playthrough Masters of Venice soon? Yup. Any thoughts on Imnio, which is currently on Kickstarter? Sorry, Lauren, I don't have any. I haven't looked at it. Muhammad, who's been chewing through Age of Steam playthroughs. What's the upcoming Age of Steam map you'll be streaming? No idea. It may be something very esoteric and very hard to get, though, if I have my druthers. Not to be mean, but because that's kind of cool to see something that, like, wow. And maybe that motivates. We did this with the Zombie Apocalypse map for Age of Steam. The designer really loved our playthrough of it and said, you know what? If you guys want to do print and plays of it, you can make it. I'll make it available. So maybe we can do that for something like 20,000 Leagues End of the Sea or something like that. News from Gamma. I covered that. And Michael asks, is there an 18XX week still on for April? What titles will be featured? To be determined. I should be able to hopefully meet up with Siddharth and some of the folks this weekend and be able to have an answer for that after this weekend. So we'll see how that goes. Joseph, what are my thoughts on a revised edition of Agricola? If I had a copy, I would be able to give them. I don't, so I can't. Hi, No Enemies here. How you doing? All right, appreciate it, Trucker. All right, that's it. I'm late. I tried to limit it 2 hours. Well, I think actually we did, didn't we? Because I started a couple minutes late. All right, cool. There we go. So that's this month's Ask the Elephant. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you do, like and subscribe down below. That helps me and the show, and it helps you guys get notified whenever something goes live. So make sure you hit the little bell as well. And just back there in the corner right there, pledgehc.com. You want to join the herd. Get access to the amazing Slack community. The only community. This is not a challenge, by the way. It's the only community that I know of that we've never, in 2 years, never had to moderate it. Once. We have moderators. We've never had to moderate it. That's amazing in 2019. So kudos to all of y'all patrons for making it an amazing community. So thank you for that. Plus you get access to teaching notes, this and that, and a whole bunch of other perks for supporting the show financially. If you don't want to go that route, spread the word for the show, y'all. Really helps. BGG, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere else, whatever. Spread the word. It carries weight when you guys do it, a lot more so than when I do it, because I'm pretty well invested in this heavy cardboard thing. So help me, help you, help us. All right? Cool. I got to go get ready to record a podcast, so I'm out. 9 p.m. tonight, Eastern. So that is 7 hours from right now. Come back. Cole's going to be here with the rest of the herd. Me, Jess, Cole, Greg, and I think Andrew is the 5th. We're going to be live streaming PAX Premiere 2nd edition, the unveiling of the new edition. I am really excited. It is a damn good game. So come join us in about 7 hours, y'all. All right? Take care, everybody. Thanks again. Don't forget, support the show. Take care, guys.